Welcome back to The Explainer. So today we're hitting day 4 of our Deconstructing Industry Reality Check series. We're looking at the modern evolution of consumer markets. Basically, we're diving into exactly how all those everyday items currently sitting in your home get created, marketed, and ultimately consumed. Let's get right into it.
Before we even touch on the history here, I really want you to stop and think about a crazy scenario. What happens when machines shop for you? I know, it sounds a little bit like science fiction, right? But picture this. Your smart fridge notices you're running low on milk, and it just orders it. Or an algorithm decides exactly which brand of laundry detergent is going to show up at your front door, all based on this massive, complex web of data points instead of, some flashy commercial you saw on TV. We are rapidly moving away from the era of traditional branding, where companies literally fought tooth and nail just to catch your wandering human eye, to a totally new future where AI and automated systems actually step in and make those purchasing decisions for you. It's a massive, massive shift, and it completely rewrites the foundational rules of consumer goods.
Now, to really wrap our heads around the industry we're deconstructing today, we have to nail down one absolutely crucial term, and that's FMCG, or fast-moving consumer goods. Now, we're not talking about buying a car or a house here. We're talking about your toothpaste, your morning coffee, that box of cereal you toss in your cart every single Tuesday, or the shampoo you suddenly realize you need right before you jump in the shower. These are the everyday products you buy constantly. They're the things that move incredibly fast off the shelves and into your life. And the absolute defining characteristic of FMCG is that it literally never stands still. It's a sector that is forced to continually evolve in real time, right alongside our own constantly changing consumer behaviors, our anxieties, and our desires.
Okay, to truly understand where we're heading, we have to recognize just how blisteringly fast we got here. Back in the 19th century, just the mere concept of a branded consumer product was revolutionary. It brought in this whole new level of trust and quality assurance. You actually knew what you were getting when you bought a specific bar of soap. Then, boom, jump to the 1950s. The supermarket boom hit, and it completely transformed how products were marketed. Suddenly, brands were engaged in all-out psychological warfare. They had to stand out directly on a crowded physical store shelf right next to practically identical competitors. Fast forward again to the 2020s, and direct-to-consumer models reshaped the whole shebang. Brands realized, hey, we can bypass that physical shelf entirely and use digital channels to ship right to your doorstep. And well, that brings us to the wild frontier of today, AI-assisted commerce. This isn't just about clicking buy on a website anymore. We're talking predictive algorithms and auto-replenishment subscriptions where your smart home decides you need paper towels before you even realize you're out. So we've gone from seeking basic trust in a generic brand to having complex, invisible algorithms seamlessly dictate what we buy and exactly when we buy it. Now, this whole evolution brilliantly illustrates how our psychology adapts alongside our technology. Take a look at this incredibly sticky term, Treatonomics. It describes a highly resilient, almost stubborn consumer behavior. Because, you see, even when the economy gets rocky, or inflation bites, or things just feel generally uncertain, people simply refuse to stop treating themselves. They just shift the scale of the treat. You might postpone buying that new car, but you are absolutely still going to buy that $7 artisanal oat milk latte or maybe that slightly overpriced premium exfoliating face wash. Modern shoppers consistently carve out a budget for accessible premium products and those small, everyday indulgences. It's a fascinating psychological driver. It's almost like a sort of micro-rebellion against economic stress. And it's what keeps certain premium segments of the market booming, entirely regardless of the broader macroeconomic pressures happening around us.
And the industry data backs this up entirely. It states very clearly, demand remains strong for accessible premium products and small, everyday indulgences. You see, this isn't just some quirky, fleeting trend. This resilient demand is actively shaping market access and product development right now as we speak. It signals to brands that even as household budgets inevitably tighten up, consumers are fiercely protective of those small, premium moments of satisfaction in their daily routines. Companies know for a fact that if they can just position their product as that necessary little daily escape, well, they essentially become recession-proof.
So what does this all mean for how things are sold? Well, we are looking at a fundamental, almost jarring shift in the actual target audience of marketing. Think about the analog past. That was entirely about standing out to humans on physical store shelves. Success meant you really had to understand human biology and psychology. You needed bright, contrasting colors, bold fonts, and you fought tooth and nail for that prime, eye-level placement on the aisle. But the automated future? That requires a completely different language. Success now means optimizing digital information, tweaking product visibility metrics, and mastering consumer data strategies so you can appeal directly to intelligent assistants and search algorithms. You are no longer just marketing to human eyes, folks. You are marketing to lines of code. If the algorithm doesn't understand your product's metadata, it really doesn't matter how pretty your packaging is. The machine might just go ahead and buy your competitor's product for the consumer instead. Crazy, right? Now, if we zoom out from the digital shelf to the global stage, we're seeing these FMCG trends taking shape in some really dynamic ways across emerging markets. Growth isn't just steady in these regions, it is significantly accelerating. But it's essentially a chain reaction. Rising incomes naturally trigger rapid urbanization. So as populations move from rural areas into dense, fast-paced city environments, their daily routines change completely. And that in turn sparks a much greater focus on health, wellness, and self-care just to combat all that urban stress. People aren't just looking for basic sustenance anymore. There's this increased, highly vocal demand for a better overall quality of life. This interconnected chain, more money, urban living, and a desire for wellness is aggressively pushing premium product adoption into developing markets at a scale we simply haven't seen before. And right alongside this explosive global growth, we're witnessing another massive, non-negotiable transition in the market. That is the sustainability shift. Going green, yeah, that is absolutely no longer a nice-to-have consumer preference or some clever little marketing gimmick. It has evolved into a strict competitive necessity. It's a defining, relentless market force that businesses have to adapt to immediately if they actually want to survive this evolution. These defining forces of sustainability now touch literally every single second of a product's life cycle. We are talking about a complete, top-to-bottom overhaul toward environmentally responsible packaging and ethical sourcing. Today's consumers are incredibly savvy. They demand radically transparent supply chains. They want to know exactly which farm their coffee beans came from and the specific labor conditions of the people who picked them. On top of that, strict environmental regulations are actively dictating physical product design. Think about the last bottle of shampoo you bought. The reason that bottle might now be a solid bar of soap wrapped in cardboard, or maybe a flimsy plastic pouch designed to refill a reusable container, is because packaging standards and waste regulations are literally determining whether a product even gets shelf access in the first place. Now, achieving all of this is incredibly difficult and super expensive for legacy companies, but sustainability is now quite literally dictating the physical reality and the shape of the goods we hold in our hands every day. Let's just slow the pace down for a second here, because the industry is walking a really precarious tightrope. On one side of the balance, you have these magnificent, significant opportunities. We've got incredible consumer resilience, like we saw earlier with people consistently buying their daily Treatonomics luxuries. You've got expanding global market access and this massive, lucrative wave of innovation in health-focused and sustainable products. But that immense growth potential is completely counterbalanced by severe environmental realities. Think about the tension here for a moment. A brand might innovate a fantastic, healthy, organic new snack. Great. But to keep it fresh and convenient for a busy commuter, they wrap each portion individually in non-recyclable plastic. Suddenly, you have a massive health win, but a devastating packaging waste and resource consumption loss. These heavy supply chain environmental impacts clash directly with the basic desire to sell more goods to more people. Solving this major challenge, figuring out how to capture limitless global growth without actually burying the planet in the process, well, that is the defining puzzle for the entire consumer goods industry today. Consumer markets are transforming rapidly, and as we've seen today, they're never going to stop reshaping how products are created, marketed, and ultimately consumed. That wraps up our deep dive for today, but be sure to join us tomorrow for Day 5 of the series, Automobile and Ancillaries. We're going to be deconstructing another massive industry that's navigating its own profound technological and behavioral shifts. You won't want to miss it. Before we go, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on the next time you replenish your household supplies. Ask yourself, is your next everyday purchase actually being decided by you or by the algorithm? Think about how your own shopping habits are changing right under your nose. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next explainer.